Congresswoman Debbie Lesko. And the first question I want to ask you is an obvious question. Why did you go to the State of the Union address?
Thank you for having me on. I went because out of respect for the office of the presidency. And so I wished that it was President Trump walking down the aisle by me so that so I could shake his hand. But unfortunately, we have President Biden there right now. But I did it out of respect for the presidency. And I also wrote notes. I wrote notes about the different things that he said. So I could respond.
Congresswoman, Biden's speech was described as one given by someone whose presidency is going well and needs no major course corrections. Did you find the speech, when you're listening to the speech, was the president in denial or was he just deluded?
Well, I think a little bit of both, quite frankly. I mean, the speech parts of it sounded like a Republican speech because he knows that his poll numbers are so low that he needs to try to convince people that he's actually working on it. I think the biggest areas where he is living an alternative reality was when he said we need to secure the border. I just about flipped. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the same man who on day one stopped building the fence along the border. This is the same man that stopped the Remain in Mexico policy where asylum seekers had to stay in Mexico while their immigration and asylum claims were being processed. And so under Trump. And so give me a break. This man is for totally open borders, but he's trying to fool the electorate into thinking he actually wants to secure the border. The other area that I just about had a fit on was when he said, we must buy American. Well, that sounds great. I agree with it. We need to buy American. He said something like, it needs to be made in America from the beginning to the end. Well, he should follow his own words because this man has stopped oil and gas leasing and production in America. He has put holds on mines that are mining critical materials that are needed in the production of lithium batteries and semiconductors in America. This man can just say this stuff, but it's empty rhetoric. He does not follow through.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. I kind of flipped out of my chair when I heard him talking about Buy America. As a matter of fact, in that moment, I think that he was channeling his inner Trump last night. Buy America, made in America, American parts, American manufacturers, America, America, America. I mean, where have we heard that from? Well, we heard that from the previous administration. But I think you're right, Congresswoman. The left, or should say the Biden's administration, they know that they are in trouble with more than half of America. So now here they are trying to channel the words of President Trump without the actions. Do you think that the American people saw that last night?
Well, I sure hope so. Now, there's a lot of people, quite frankly, that are apathetic. They're not involved in politics. They don't know what's going on. So as the election itself showed, there's people that just believe this stuff. I mean, when President Biden said, the answer is not to defund the police, that's another one that I was like, well, you guys are the ones that are calling for defunding the police. The Democrat cities, the Democrat prosecutors that don't want to prosecute criminals, the ones that want to let people out on bail, dangerous people out on bail. These are the same people that he's now saying we cannot defund the police. But then in the next breath, he said, let's hold law enforcement accountable.
Right.
Well, that shows his true color, right? Because they're going after the police. They're going after the police, and that's why the crime is rising now. I mean, gosh, I sure hope that people saw this for what it is. And quite frankly, I bet a bunch of people didn't even watch it. You know,
it's true.
Frankly.
And I understand even people in our audience can't stomach it. That's why I was happy to have you on. You were there. You're here talking about it today. We have Congresswoman Debbie Lesko in the center ring of the conservative circus. And I have to ask you this. I mean, you were in the chambers. You saw all that was going on in front of you. Serious question. Was Speaker Nancy Pelosi drunk? I mean, was she impaired?
No, but I saw her. I was sitting way in the back along the aisle, and I see her do these like really big smiles, like she got like giddy,
Exactly.
totally giddy over certain things, and I was like, what is going on with her? Well, I know she wasn't going to rip up Biden's speech like she did with Trump and had like a little hissy fit going on when Trump was there, but I mean, she was over the moon, so giddy. I was just like, what in the world is going on with her? That was interesting.
Yeah, that's why I thought she had been doing some drinking or something like that before she got up there. Another question: was there like ice cream for all of the older Congress people when the speech was over? Ice cream, pudding, Jello, something like that? Because it seemed like we had a lot of a lot of the upper management or the older folks in the House. It was way past their bedtime.
Well, I don't know. And they had it really cold in the chambers, so that helped keep me awake. But also, I was writing notes because I wanted to write down what he said versus what he actually has done and what he will do. And that's the problem. People don't trust him anymore. I mean, remember when he promised the American people, he said, we will not have vaccine mandates? And then we did.
Yep.
Remember when he said, we will not leave one American behind in Afghanistan? And then he did. I mean, this guy keeps breaking his promises one after the other. And, he portrayed himself when he was candidate Biden as this, guy that will work with Republicans, try to unite people. And that's what people bought into. But he's the opposite. I mean, he said during the State of the Union, he said, let's something to the effect of, let's not let COVID divide us.
Right.
Now, and he's the one that has done it. He's the one that has done these vaccine mandates. He said negative things about people that don't want to get vaccinated. I mean, he's the one that is getting people fired because they don't want to get a vaccine mandate. He is the one causing the division, and the audacity this guy has to say these things when his actions are totally different than what he says. Now, we know that somebody else wrote the speech, right? Biden didn't sit there and write his own speech. So the person that wrote the speech knew that he has to attract independents and some Republicans, and so it was hard for me, quite frankly, when he said, let's buy American, for me not to stand up and applaud, because, of course, I want to buy American, but I know that he's not doing it, so I don't want to applaud him.
Well, you know what? If you're going to applaud, what you should do is like go into Nancy Pelosi mood and get all giddy when you're talking about stuff that America Americans can get behind. Just get giddy and start saying.